Welcome back to the Division 2. In this video I'm going to be giving you some tips on how you can beat Legendary difficulty and the easiest way you can do it, because Legendary is the toughest difficulty in the game and it's only on the 3 original strongholds. So Roosevelt Island, District Union and Capitol Building. They each have their own sort of playstyles because you have different environments. For an example, Capitol Building, the very first part is in a really wide open area, whereas District Union Arena, it's a smaller area to begin with, and then you go inside a building. You eventually go into Capitol Building, but then Roosevelt Island is more outside and open the whole way through. The very first thing I would recommend is to make sure you have multiple builds set up, so DPS, skills, crowd control / like status effects. And this is more important if you are running matchmaking, in case there isn't a crowd control player, because I would recommend to always run at least one crowd control build. So we always have someone with the Vial Mask, 4-piece Eclipse Protocol including the bag and chest, and then you could run Golem Gear if you're running Technician, although it's better to run Crossbow with that. There is a build for it on the channel, but crowd control is so important because of the different enemies and the archetypes and the fact that they are completely different to anything else you see in the game. When you're running missions, standard, you'll typically have, like, you've got the True Sons, the Outcasts, the Hyenas, the Cleaners, the Rikers, and then you get invaded missions where you have the Black Tusk. A couple of the missions by default are run by Black Tusk, but these enemies I like to call the White Tusk just because they're wearing a white outfit, and they have different variations to the Black Tusk enemies. So for an example, the Heavies or the Chungus, they will have a Stinger Hive instead of a Restorer Hive in their backpack. So instead of healing themselves, they're going to be dealing damage to you, and it really hurts. So as soon as they spawn in, for an example, I'm going to use District throughout most of this video because that's the one I run the most often. I have completed all 3 of them, legit runs, but District is the one I run the most, and it's also the one I have the fastest completion time on. My legit time is 29 minutes and I believe it was 9 seconds. But the very first area, you'll have enemies to take out, including tank operators, and like you have the assault tanks. Then you'll get the second wave, which is like rushers and snipers. Then you'll have the third wave that drops from the helicopter, and that will include 2 Chunguses, and they will start pushing towards you because you're pretty much all the time going to be sat near the start of the mission. Your main aim is to obviously take down their hive first, because their hive, as they get closer, is going to deal a lot of damage. If you're not running DPS, this is going to be tough because skills aren't really going to target the backpacks, and your weapons aren't going to deal a lot of damage if you're running a skill build. So if you have crowd control in there with status effects, you can use the Riot Foam Chem Launcher, you can keep them stuck in place, and you can use your skills if you're running skill builds. That way you can just crack their armor, you don't have to worry about their hives. But there will be some situations where the hives are needed to be taken out because of the really confined spaces. And if you have a couple of players running skill builds, then 9 times out of 10, they are going to focus their Stinger Hive thing in their backpack onto your skills instead of you. But the further away you can keep them, the better. And as I've said in a video before, when you get to the second area, as soon as you enter that building on District, you can literally Riot Foam the entire wave, because not only that, as well as drone operators, tank controllers, or operators, Chunguses, you also have healers. Like, you have medics as well, which will get revives, and they'll pop out their little like revive drones. But you do get healers. They will drop a support station. It gives a humongous radius, and it does a lot of healing to the enemies. Using Riot Foam on your chem launcher and sticking them in place stops them being able to put them stations down. And you don't need to run like 2 players crowd control. Just have the one. And I would recommend using the Stinger Hive, or you could use other skills, or like whatever skill you want to, but try and go for the Stinger Hive. Definitely use Riot Foam to keep the enemies in place. If you're running Eclipse Protocol, when you kill an enemy that has a status effect on them, then that status effect will apply to all enemies within a certain radius. 15 meters if you don't have one of the talents, 20 meters if you do. And that is so helpful because rushers, drone ladies and everything, they are irritating when you are playing this difficulty. Not only that, but if you are running the crossbow specialization with a crowd control build, you are getting extra skill haste for your charges when you're sat behind cover. You are getting 10% extra damage to your teammates on status affected enemies, and you also get the incendiary grenades, so you can throw them for fire. That's another status effect that deals damage. Another thing is, we always run 3 players with skill builds, so we have striker drones and assault turrets. We pop them down. We run the Harmony rifle so that we get in sync and we can shoot that and get extra skill damage. You can also run the mechanical animal or another assault rifle or something with Future Perfect on, but it's legendary difficulty, and with a skill build it's obviously harder to get a kill using your weapon. So using that to apply overcharge isn't going to be the greatest thing. So just stick with the Harmony, maybe run the mechanical animal if you really, really want to, but you don't have to. Like, it's best to just stick to the Harmony, use your skill builds with striker drones, assault turrets. But what we do is we always, at the end, I always switch out to my DPS build, because the boss at the end of District, you can't really do much to him with skills. It takes forever and ever, because he has a healing backpack, and you have to get rid of that backpack. You have to fully destroy it before you can start damaging him, because his healing is so strong. So you can even keep the 2 skills on so that he focuses on the skills. You can have the crowd control to keep him in the same spot. And then you can have your DPS player running around and trying to get behind him to destroy his backpack. You have to have synergy within your team. You need to have your builds all working together. But one thing to take note of, and it's a pretty big thing, and it's also going to wrap up the video, there's not much else to it. It's pretty much just the build you run. If you don't have communication because you've done some matchmaking, then always just try and make sure you have a couple of builds so that you're not all running the same thing. But the last tip is the fact that attack is the best form of defense. We tried running with a couple of tank builds, and it just doesn't work because the enemies don't always aggro the tanks. It depends on positioning and stuff, and not only that, it's legendary. They hit really hard, shields don't have a huge amount of health. You can have them with like 13 million, but if you're tanking and taking all of that damage, your shield is going to deplete very, very fast. Not just that, because you are running a shield build and you've pretty much got all blues, you're not going to be outputting damage, whereas using different sort of damage builds, the more you output, especially to the Chunguses, the more you output, the faster they go down. So instead of being defensive and sitting there and panicking about their hive and when they're coming at you with their miniguns and stuff, if you're just firing rounds at them with guns and skills and stuff, and you're outputting a lot of damage, you'll get them taken down faster. But on that note, that's going to do it for the video. If there are any other tips that will help players out, don't forget to leave them in the comments. But that's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.